It's time for the Financial Crisis Talk Center with Ken Gross and David Einstandig from Thav Gross.
Credit card debt is number one. I view it as financial cancer.
40% of your gross income is going to just pay the debt service. You got no chance of getting out.
I would give up my credit score to get rid of debt.
Here's your host, Ken Gross.
All right, welcome back to the Talk Center. All right, this segment of the Talk Center, we have a special guest who's running a little bit late because he's a political candidate. He's also a good friend. Phil Cavanagh, state representative from the 10th District covers Redford, and he's running for Wayne County Executive, which is, if you're following the news lately, just recently all the candidates put their names in, so now it's all heating up going towards the primary and then ultimately a November election. So Phil's going to be joining us. The word of the day for this segment is improvement from the standpoint of looking at the Wayne County and Wayne County Executive. I figured it was a appropriate word of the day. Brian Small,
good morning,
my co-host. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. I thought actually the word of the day was a historical term, and it was lack of.
As a term of lack of improvement?
Lack of improvement, yes.
I mean, when it comes to Wayne County, there's all sorts of things that you can say and surmise. Before Phil gets here, I think, you know what, let's get the announcements out of the way that I always do on the show so that when we have Phil here, we can kind of run through and stay on point, because I know he's going to have to scoot out of here to get to the next to the next appointment. First of all, we've been talking about. I think they are here. I don't know. Can okay. We've been talking about Reg X and how that works from the standpoint of helping people fight foreclosure. It's a new law that came out on January 10th of this year by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And we've put together a special report addressing Reg X, and it's called Regulation X, The Hidden Secrets. This law provides avenues that we can use to fight foreclosure that very few people are even aware of because the law is so new, and a lot of the lenders think that the law, or not the lenders, a lot of the media doesn't even realize how good this law is. So we put together a free report. It is called Regulation X, The Hidden Secrets. If you want to access the report, you go to our go to the website regxhomesaver.com. It's regxhomesaver.com. That's the site that you get the free report. Works perfect. I see Phil's working his way into the studio. We're trying to get him hooked up, but we'll keep on with opening announcements. Got seminars coming up. Strategic debt elimination on May 7th in Lansing, April 30th actually in Bingham Farms, and also June 4th in Bingham Farms. And then we have a seminar coming up that is focused on the elderly, not so much a financial crisis type seminar, but a planning seminar dealing with the issue of the potential of Medicaid problems and the nursing home prospect. And it's called Protecting Your Life's Work. The basic mantra of the theme of that seminar is, how much can you afford to lose? You worked all your life trying to put together savings, and now you're facing the prospect, or your parents are, of going into the nursing home. Let's say you got $500,000 there, but this nursing home is going to eat away that money. So when I ask somebody on the street, like I say to Brian, how much can you afford to lose?
I can't afford to lose a dime, and I want to make sure that I know how to not lose a dime. If I have to spend it, I'll spend it, but if I'm not going to lose it.
You didn't give me the word I wanted.
Zero.
I still don't have it, but it's close.
Nothing.
That's the word I wanted. When I ask somebody, how much can you afford to lose, the answer is always nothing. So if you want to sign up for that seminar, I've got the perfect site, cannotaffordtolose.com. You go to that. Special information for veterans. There's up to $2,100 a month in wartime veteran benefits for aid and attendant care when needed. That's that. You don't get this money just for free. You've got to be sick and needing continuous care. But it's $2,100. There are no look-back rules. Like Medicaid has a 5-year look-back rule that we have to work our way through and around in order to help people.
But you still got to do it right, which is why you better come to the seminar to learn about it. Because if you apply and you can lose.
You can make big mistakes. Absolutely. Yep. terms of dates of the seminar, Tuesday, May 13th at the Grosse Pointe War Memorial, Wednesday, May 21st at the Royal Oak Public Library. Sign up, go to cannotafforddtolose.com, or you can also go to our websites, thavgross.com or financialcrisistalkcenter.com. That seminar is sponsored by Pat Samasco from Samasco Law and myself. We'll be the speakers at that seminar. We hope you can attend. The word of the day today for this segment is improvement, and I have with us in the studio, who has arrived, Phil Cavanagh, my good friend, state rep from the 10th District, covers Redford, candidate for a Wayne County exec. Good morning, Phil. It is official now. It is official. Everybody's running for Wayne County exec now.
Well, the incumbent, the current county exec, made no bones about the fact that if he ran, he would flood the field. And so there were 13 candidates yesterday, 2 pulled out, so there'll be 11 on the ballot just on the Democratic side.
Wow, 11. So there were 13. So could you name them all if I told you, if I said name the 13?
It literally boils down to those that'll have money. It's not just name recognition, because there's some names on there that people will recognize. But those that will, do the mailings, make the appearances, and that really is 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Yeah, I know you're already making the appearances because it took you a little bit of time to get to the studio. I don't think you were sleeping in this morning though. If I know you,
plenty of places to be.
You guys, I have to tip my hat to you guys. The grind that you go through once you get on the campaign trail is relentless. And
I get asked nearly every day, why am I doing this?
Why are you doing this?
It's not ego, it's not career. I'm an attorney. You guys do a great job helping your clients. As your show says all the time, you are literally offering a service. And you can do that in the private sector. My father was mayor of Detroit, and he taught me public service was an honor in and of itself. I didn't realize that till I actually got elected. I ran for office just to have a job. But when I got there, I realized you can make a difference in people's life. And I feel that this administration, everybody knows, this administration has lost focus. It's not about the people. The case in point is that he's running again, and he has to flood the field to get reelected for what he hopes is maybe 20%. That means 80% of the people don't want you. I don't want to run like that. I don't want to live life like that.
I can see what you mean. Here's how I kind of look at it, because you and I go back a long way now, and I know you always like the word of the day, so I picked improvement as the word of the day.
And your show did just get better, so that's a good one.
There you go. But here's how let me give you the analogy to our clients, and then I guess we'll do it. I'll start it before the break. When someone comes into my office with a financial problem, they have a set of facts that are existing at that time. One thing I always know is if you don't change the set of facts going forward, you don't improve the situation. So what does that mean for Wayne County? If it has problems right now, are you going to just stay the same? We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about improvement.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
You like your job. What you don't like is the way your boss has been treating you. He's making comments about how you look instead of your work, and he's been touching you inappropriately. If you complain, is he allowed to fire you? Absolutely not. Unwelcome sexual comments, advances, and contact are illegal in the workplace. Make him pay. Gold Star Law is here to help you through your employment law problem, whatever it is.
Gold Star Law, protecting employees' rights. Call 1-800-WAGES-10 for a free consultation today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
Every family has the family meeting, and we all know what that means. Dad's got dementia. What are we going to do? what's the care plan that the family has in place? Usually they don't, or they struggle with a care plan. When you go home tonight and you talk to your tax person and you talk to your financial person, say, what's the plan that you have in place? And as soon as they don't give you an answer, give me a call, because I can do it for you.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're all here because we know the county is headed in the wrong direction. But we know that it can be great. Today, I make my candidacy official for the bid for Wayne County Executive. I understand the job that it entails, and I accept that responsibility. Let's get to work. Let's get Wayne County working. Thank you. God bless.
You know me, Phil, so I do a little bit of homework. So I happened to find that. I happened to find that spot last night and thought it would be good to play on the show. And it was, I loved it too. You did a really nice job with that. So improvement. That's what we're talking about. So my point was this. If a client comes in to see Brian, me, David, or whatever, and we examine the facts, you know, I kind of, sometimes it's a business, which this would be a better, Wayne County, to me, a municipality is a business. And when I say it's a business to be successful and run and to survive must generate more revenue than it spends on an ongoing basis. Otherwise, it fails. I always use my cigar box analogy. If you don't get more cash into the cigar box than you take out of the cigar box, eventually there's nothing going to be in the cigar box to pay anything, and the box is going to fall apart. When I look at the city of Detroit, when I look at Wayne County, when I look at any municipality, or when I look at a business, the same rules apply. Now, what that means when the client comes into me and I see the cigar box is not working because less cash is coming in than it's going out, I say to him, you got to change what's going on with this box. You either got to increase revenue or decrease expense, and if you don't get that, there's not going to be a lot I can do to help you. I can get rid of all your debts with bankruptcy in the right circumstance, but I can't fix the problem going forward unless you change the way you do business. You either need more revenue, which in a municipality means more tax base or more entrepreneurial endeavors to generate revenue, or you need to cut expense. And with the business, I say to them, Brian likes this line, I sit to him and I say to him, okay, give me a list of all your employees. And then I say to him, this is not going to be pleasant, but I say to him, I want to draw a line through each one that if I draw the line through their name, the business can still operate the next day. And once I've done that, and I said, okay, these are the people you have to let go if you want to stay in business. Do I like doing it? No. Do I want those people to lose their jobs? No. But if you don't have more revenue in than expense out, you're out of business, buddy, and it doesn't matter. Bankruptcy can't help you from the standpoint of going forward. That's my big issue with the city of Detroit. That's my big issue with Wayne County. You got to give me don't give me a balance sheet. That's why I don't care about the art. The art is not the city of Detroit's problem. The problem for the city of Detroit is more revenue in than expense out. That's Wayne County's problem. And I tell you this much, if existing management hasn't figured it out by now, they ain't going to get it going forward with 4 more years. That's why we need improvement. So, to you, what do we do? You're in. We've elected you. You're Wayne County exec. How do we improve it? What do we fix? I know you got an accounting degree. I know you got a law degree. I know you got an MBA. So at least at least the electorate has the ability to vote for someone that's got the schooling and the credentials of how to deal with business issues, which I think is a big plus.
My dad's slogan in his 1966 run for Senate, U.S. Senate, was "Ability is the difference." And I think that still resonates. You touched on many, many premises. I don't like to hear the word bankruptcy in Wayne County in the same sentence or in the same conversation, because we got to this point and we need new leadership. The leadership itself needs to change the focus. Right now, Southeast Michigan, Detroit, Wayne County in particular, how you get elected is you promise jobs to people along the way, then you bury them as appointees. When I was on the Wayne County Commission, I could not get the list of appointees. First and foremost, I'll start with the executive office. You talk about taking names and lines through. I don't even know where that list exists of who the appointees are. So everybody will have a job description and be held to task for that job description. Their salaries would be public. I am a legislator in the state of Michigan. Anyone can go on the website, find out what I'm paid, what my staff is paid, what my expenses are, what my car allowance, and you could do that even for the governor,
so
I think.
Is it fair to say that if you get elected Wayne County executive, you're not going to hire me on a secret contract for financial crisis management expertise and give me a $500,000 signing bonus plus a severance payment of $500,000?
I can answer that one.
Is that fair to say?
I may hire a consultant to help us get out of this crisis, and you would be, in the running because I know your expertise. But the bottom line is the public would know. They would know that you are being paid X to do a job.
You're
and it
talking
would
about
all be online.
Accountability and clearly showing the public. Transparency is my favorite word.
Democracy is lost behind closed doors.
These days.
And it's true. Wayne County got into the circumstances because these decisions are made by a select few, for a select few, and the commission itself isn't even given the facts and figures. They're only given the pros, never the cons. And then they go, oops, we didn't know.
How is it that is it just the laws are such that they're allowed to do that in terms of the Open Meeting Acts and things like that? They're not really violating the law in doing it. They're just, the system is such that they're allowed to do it. It's kind of like we've talked about at the state. A lot of it, on the state level, we've shared frustrations with the standpoint of the way a lot of the Republican dominated force has ramrodded legislation through. Are they allowed to do it, or are they violating the law when they're doing it, or is that too murky question?
No, you try to line up your votes, and you lobby a person at a time. That's not what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
What I'm referring to is transparency, to lay out all the facts. So when we do the budget process, everybody we're paying. Not let's cut a deal on a park over here and give me $3 million for a bunch of stealth employees that never come into work. Transparency is the keynote. You also asked what I would do. First, it would start with the executive branch. You'd get rid of the $500,000 transportation allowance in the 5-to-1 match.
What is that?
Well, Charlie LaDuff did a segment, and for one, you have your $20,000 a year Cadillac that the executives ride around in, but he has 3 drivers, and you total all that up, it's $500,000 a year.
That's a lot of drivers.
Can he drive himself?
This executive would drive himself.
I mean, he does.
Did
he
you ever
does have a driver's license,
Did you ever
right?
see the movie Lincoln Lawyer?
Yeah.
Because he didn't have an office. McConaughey played the role. It's a Michael Connelly book, and he didn't have an office, so he's driving around in a Cadillac, and he has the guys that are on probation and so forth. His former clients are driving, but he's only paying them
And the
like
motorcycle
$50
gang
a
starts
day.
in the very beginning.
Yeah, it's a good fight. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with Phil Cavanagh, candidate for Wayne County exec. We'll be back after the break.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Are you struggling to pay your mortgage? Afraid of foreclosure and the financial mess it can cause? Time is not on your side. Call Alan Stalter, the short sale specialist. For years, Alan has been helping distressed homeowners navigate through the short sale process. His experience will get you out of your home without the credit score damage that follows foreclosure. If you want a fresh start, you need to call Alan Stalter, the short sale specialist, 248-854-3829 or MetroDetroitShortSale.com.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. but you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Going from hourly to salary seemed like a good career move, but now you're working 60 hours a week instead of 40, and you aren't getting paid any of that extra time. You're stuck, right? Wrong. You can be on salary and still be entitled to overtime. If you've been wrongly denied such pay, you may be entitled to that and more. Gold Star Law is here to help you through your employment law problem, whatever it is.
Gold Star Law, protecting employees' rights. Call 1-800-WAGES-10 for a free consultation today.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
Welcome back. We're with Phil Cavanagh, candidate for Wayne County Executive, but I forgot to mention Gary Nitzkin, who was with us on our last segment, stayed on for the show. But he was in the crossover between the top of the hour. I forgot to mention that you're back on the segment. Gary, it's good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Pleased to meet you, Gary.
Pleasure's mine.
Gary, Phil, Gary. And then we got Brian here sitting there. Okay. Sorry, Brian. All right, we were talking about improvement. And I gave you one of my famous 45-second questions where I was talking about
4.5-minute question.
But I got it. The cigar box.
What's 3.5 minutes when we're friends? The cigar box. So how do we get to the point of more revenue in than expense out? Because that's a hard one. It's not an easy one.
Your premise is absolutely correct. We have to stop spending more than we take in, and this administration hasn't. Deficit elimination plans, even when I was there 6 years ago, were pie in the sky, and you'd see the same one as far as departments. The numbers would just change. But the first thing is government is not a business. For everybody to say we need a businessman, we need to treat it like a business, we don't make widgets. It is about people. The assets are the people themselves. If we change the focus and the paradigm. So the criminal justice system is 80% of the county budget.
Wow.
For one, I can't. Let's just get to the income and expense side. Let's say you were to float an income tax. Who has confidence in this environment that Wayne County can utilize that money effectively? No one is going to vote for more money when they see $160 million jail mistakes and they see Pinnacle Downs, $74 million that is already shuttered after 2 years. You know, these are just terrible examples. You have to build the confidence.
Where did the $74 million go?
Well, $34 million is in infrastructure improvements for the horse race track out by the airport. And the rest of the money is we deeded over all that property that was county owned for $1 because someone signed off, Trakeem Mullen, signed off that there were 2,500 jobs created. You couldn't count the postman and the guy that picks up, the laundry in that equation and still get to 2,500. That's a separate number conversation.
Wow.
Government is not a business. Focus on the people. Try to empower the people. So we know that prevention programs, for every dollar spent on prevention, our kids or potential criminals save $7 in incarceration. Now, you can't suddenly throw a ton of money at juvenile justice or the prosecutor and expect immediate results, but we need to look at that correcting this long term. There's a $175 million structural deficit.
So on a long-term play, invest $1 and there's a $7 return?
Yes.
Well, that's big. That's better than the market.
Yeah, but isn't it? Don't you run
You
into
just have
the
to have
problem
the dollar
of
to invest.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
don't you run into the
Savings, right.
problem of what have you done for me today? Prove to me today. I mean, people want immediate gratification. You're talking about the correct way to fix the problem. But all these other candidates seem to be promising pie in the sky because just give it to me today and I'll fix it for you today.
I can tell you what I would do besides looking at the executive branch. You need to look at the criminal justice system since that's 80% of the equation.
That's the money.
And you have rape kits described as discretionary in budget rollouts. And you have our prosecutors going around the country trying to fundraise for something that is an obligation of the county tax dollar to process rape kits. That's an example, but the assistant prosecuting attorneys in Wayne County have 6 times the caseload of what they have in Oakland County. And I'm sitting here at a table of lawyers. We get that if the criminal justice system isn't fully funded the way it's supposed to be, you then have a backlog in the jail system. You then have judges sitting around for prosecutors to show up. If you can't process DNA or crime lab or rape kits, you have people sitting in the jail for 6 months waiting for trial. Everything has to be sped up. And I think that if you give the resources where they need to be, just in the criminal justice system, it's going to speed up the process. It's going to work like a well-oiled machine, and those costs are all going to go down. But again, what have you done for me lately? I can't suddenly throw a lot of money at the prosecutor and balance the budget. You know,
I can't get away
versus expenses.
I can't get away from the cigar box analogy. It's an excellent analogy, and I'm sorry I cannot let it go. You say that the county is not a business. It has to be run like a business. It has a cigar box just like Ken's business and my business. How would you propose to remanage that cigar box?
For one, you'd have to take your indebtedness. So we have Pinnacle Downs, we have the jail, we have the Guardian building. Those are all expenses that are tapping out our credit card. The county has $544 million in revenue from general fund revenue, so that's mostly property tax. The current executive says, I can't balance it because they've all gone down. Well, we should forecast. We should see what it is. But you have that, then you have to minus your bond indebtedness, which I believe is 20 or 25%. I can't get my hands around the figure because nothing's transparent. It's all fuzzy math. So that gives you, let's say, a pot of money of $400 million, and then you have to figure out your core functions. So there may be times that we have to cut back on economic development in the short term. You have to fund the prosecutor, but you know, if you look at the sheriff department, maybe there's efficiencies there. The basic premise of how I would do this, I'd put everybody at a table and say, this is what we have. The county is budgeting by litigation, and it's just not working.
Yeah, I see an interesting one with the prosecutor's office. So in effect, what you have is a logjam created because you're not processing the cases quick enough. You end up wasting the resources in the other evidence. If you analogize it back to a business, it's you've got one department is understaffed, and because of it being understaffed, your other departments are underutilized and they are overstaffed. The solution isn't necessarily the overstaffing of the other departments. It's improving the one that's causing the logjam, I guess is what we're saying. I hate the fact that we are out of time. Phil, I got to have you come back again. We got to do this again. Phil Cavanagh running for governor, or running for Wayne County executive.
It's a bigger job.
Go to his website, help him out. He can always use it.